Marvell here from Stridek. So you're interested in learning more about web application development and whether you should use an in-house team or an agency like us. In the next few minutes, we're going to discuss the differences between in-house and agency development, how startups and existing companies can benefit from us, the cost differences, and who Stridek is and what we have to offer. Let's start by covering the differences between in-house and agency web development teams. First of all, with in-house teams, you're going to have limited experience, right? And what I mean by that is the only way you can gain more experiences is to actually hire from other companies, and that happens a lot in bigger companies and stuff like that. You'll see them bring over senior developers that were working for a similar company or whatever. With an agency, all of our experience comes from other clients. So our team members work on multiple projects across multiple clients. And that allows them to diversify their knowledge and what they know. Also, keep up to date with the best practices so that your code base and things like that don't get stale. On the corporate side, there is going to be a lot more red tape that your code's going to have to pass through. It's going to have to go through multiple rounds of reviews. Your sprints and iterations are going to be a lot slower. As an agency, our value is part of our value is our speed. How fast we can get your project done. It's not necessarily done, it's how fast can we get something on the screen for you to see and review. And that's kind of where we excel at Stridek, is we try to make sure that we're getting things to the client weekly if possible. So a question we get often is, should startups use in-house or agency teams? And really that boils down to a few different things. The biggest takeaway is that on the in-house team, once you hire and vet them, then the team chemistry has to come together so that they're working efficiently. So that could take months to get to maximum efficiency, right? Because these people are all brand new, many of whom hadn't met each other yet. With an agency, we have proven management practices. Okay, so our ramp up time is usually 2 to 3 weeks because our teams have already been working together for sometimes years. So you're definitely skipping that ramp up time in the very beginning of creating a team. So at this point, you're saying, Marvell, I'm not a startup. I'm in a fully established company. We've got multiple offices all over. We've been around for a decade. How can we benefit from Stridek? It takes a while to hire someone. It takes a while to even find someone, first of all. From the time you hire them or send out your offer letter, there could be up to a month before they even have their first day. And then you have orientation. And then next thing you know, you're 6 weeks in and this person hasn't even really started writing code. With Stridek, we do a discovery process that lasts hopefully a week or two. It could last a little longer. But even if it lasts 2 weeks, it takes us about 2 to 3 weeks after discovery to be at full efficiency with a team that we've hired specifically for your project. So I think it's also important to point out, as a major company, let's say you have a very small dev team, right? So maybe you're not a huge tech company, maybe you're a medical company that has an application, so you have a very small tech team, right? Because that's not your primary focus. Imagine if you need something for, let's say, artificial intelligence, some AI, some machine learning, maybe blockchain. We'll talk about blockchain, right? So you need a blockchain developer. The problem with that is that then you have to hire the specific person who's going to manage that person. And since they're the only one that knows about blockchain, the whole management cycle becomes kind of convoluted. So it's way easier to hire an agency especially for like a one-off job like this, because we can help integrate with your current team and your current company to support them in high-level roles like blockchain developers and things that we know are even more highly competitive than just regular application developers. We also have the management techniques to manage these people and to understand and make sure they're using the best practices to make sure that you as our client get the best possible end result. Still to come, we're going to talk about the cost differences and how we get shit done at Stridek. One of the most common questions I get asked is, how much should my web application cost? Well, lucky for you, I've already created a 7-part video series on this that discusses the different phases of going through the web application development process. So check out the link, it'll be in the description. So I bet you're thinking at this point, Marvell, how much is this all really going to cost me? Couldn't I just hire someone in-house for a lot cheaper? Well, on paper, it kind of looks that way. But let's talk about a few things when you go to hire people, especially on an in-house team. So you're going to have their salaries. These are fixed salaries. You can't just ramp up and ramp down, right? People they're not going to stick around if you're laying them off every couple of months because you had a bad month or bad couple of months, right? So you don't want to burn those bridges. The other cost is going to be training costs. Training costs can be up to the amount of their salary. So for instance, if you're paying someone $80,000 to $100,000, it could take an additional $80,000 to $100,000 to get them fully trained in on your team and full productivity, which could take up to an entire year sometimes. The other costs you're gonna have, obviously, you're gonna have licensing costs, you're gonna have the hardware to run it all on. So there are a lot of costs, not to mention insurance, vacation time, benefits packages. I mean, the list just goes on. But with an agency, it's real easy. You contact us, we do the discovery, we decide how big of a team you need. Maybe right now you just need 2 people. Okay, cool. So we set you up with a 2-person dev team. They're ready to go by the 3rd week. They're ready to start knocking out writing code. Let's say then you say, well, hey, I need to move up, right? We've got a tight deadline to hit. Now we got 6 devs on your team. Okay, so maybe we have 6 devs on your team for 3 or 4 months. 3 or 4 months goes by, we knock all the stuff out, and you're like, hey, Marvell, we kind of need to scale back a little bit for budget concerns. You guys did a great job. Awesome. We'll scale back to 2 developers, and we're still going to keep moving your project forward. So you can see the scalability is probably the biggest thing about in-house versus agency. The extra cost that's sometimes associated with agencies is definitely worth it when it comes to scaling up your project. It really just depends on where your value is. Is your value in having a steady, constant workflow, or is your value in being able to scale up and beat your competitors to market and things like that? Let's talk about who we are. Stridek is a web application development company based in Florida. However, this doesn't stop us from hiring people from all over the US. We are a remote-first company. This helps us create best practices for maintaining and managing remote employees. We also only hire US, and the reason is because we feel comfortable protecting your intellectual property with US developers. We also don't hire subcontractors for the exact same reason. With subcontractors, they're allowed to use their own machines, they're allowed to use their own equipment, and we want your intellectual property to stay on our equipment so that we can best protect you as our client. Another reason we excel and we get shit done is because all of our managers are programmers. They're not someone with just a business degree or someone with a project management certificate that understands how to manage project or how to manage people. These are actual programmers who have learned over the years the best practices. This allows us to set the right expectations and the right pace for your project because they have done this work before. Thanks for watching our video on the differences between in-house and agency web application development teams. If you want to stay up to date on what we're doing and the content that we put out, then please follow us on all social media platforms listed in the description below.